What have I done? One of the servers thought, panic flooding his chest. His eyes darted toward Manager Lauren, who stood frozen by the reception desk. Pale and motionless, Lauren's wide eyes betrayed the dread coursing through him. The server's hands trembled slightly. We were just following orders, weren't we? Across the room, Susan staggered, her heels slipping against the polished floor. She caught her balance, one hand clutching the edge of a nearby table for support. Her gaze lifted, and when her eyes locked with Ethan's, her breath caught. A jolt of surprise shot through her, followed quickly by dread. Her lips parted, but no words came. Why is he here? Of all the places, of all the moments, why now? Her fingers tightened around the table's edge, as if it could anchor her. She felt exposed, worn down, and entirely out of place under his intense gaze. He already dislikes me. His thoughts spiraled. Now this? He's probably adding it to the list of reasons to suggest a divorce. Ethan's figure loomed near the entrance, his steps deliberate, his dark gaze sweeping over the room like a cold wind. Every eye was drawn to him, as if the very air had shifted with his arrival. His presence was quiet, commanding, and suffocatingly intense. Before Susan could find her voice, a smooth, familiar tone broke through the heavy silence. Susan Drew? The voice carried a teasing lilt that sent a fresh wave of discomfort through her. Daniel Kelly emerged from the shadows, his tailored suit immaculate, a faint smirk playing on his lips. He moved with the ease of someone who knew all eyes were on him. His sharp gaze lingered on Susan, drinking in her disheveled state. "Daniel," she murmured, her voice barely audible. She straightened her posture, willing herself to appear composed, but her shaking hands betrayed her effort. "Fancy seeing you here," Daniel continued, his smirk deepening. His gaze flicked at Ethan, his voice dipping into something more playful. "Ethan, isn't this your—" Ethan's glare cut through him like a blade. The warning in his eyes was clear, sharp, and unyielding. Daniel chuckled softly, raising his hands in mock surrender. Fine, he muttered. "I'll keep my observations to myself." Susan flinched at the exchange, her embarrassment bubbling just beneath the surface. Her gaze darted to the floor, the weight of the moment pressing heavily on her shoulders. Before she could gather herself, a voice cut through the room like a whip. "Susan!" Helen stormed forward, her heels clicking against the floor with sharp precision. Her movements were quick, purposeful, and filled with concern. She shoved past a startled server, closing the distance in moments. Helen reached out, her hands steadying Susan as if she might collapse. "Are you okay?" she asked, her voice low but brimming with worry. "I'm fine," Susan replied, though her voice wavered. Her gaze flicked at Ethan for a fleeting second before she looked away. Her chest tightened as her heart thudded loudly in her ears. Helen's attention shifted to Ethan. Her breath caught a slight hitch that betrayed her surprise. She had heard of him, stories of his commanding presence and sharp features. But seeing him in person was entirely different. Beneath the restaurant's warm lighting, he looked almost unreal. Every angle of his face chiseled to perfection, his aura radiating authority. Across the room, Ruth, Sophia, and Lucinda watched intently. Their gazes lingered on Ethan, a mixture of surprise and admiration flickering across their faces. Ruth's lips curved into a small, calculated smile, Ethan's brow twitched, the faintest indication of his rising irritation. His dark eyes shifted, locking onto Manager Lauren. His voice, low and sharp, sliced through the tense silence. "Is this how your establishment treats its customers?" Manager Lauren swallowed hard, his composure unraveling under Ethan's stare. His hands fidgeted by his sides, his usually polished demeanor reduced to a fragile shell. Who is this man? Lauren's mind raced, and his gaze briefly flickered towards Daniel Kelly, hoping for some form of intervention. Ruth rose gracefully from her seat, her smile polished and practiced. "Young Master Kelly," she began, her voice honeyed and smooth. "I assume this gentleman is a friend of yours?" Her tone was light, as though trying to diffuse the tension. "Perhaps you can help us clear up this little misunderstanding?" Her hand gestured toward Manager Lauren, as if presenting him as the culprit. "I'm sure Manager Lauren can resolve this without unnecessary conflict," she added with a soft chuckle, her words calculated to maintain her image of control. Helen's voice rang out, sharp and unwavering. "Misunderstanding?" she snapped, stepping forward. "You mean the part where your staff manhandled my friend?" Ruth's smile faltered, the corner of her mouth twitching before she smoothed it over. "Helen," she said, her tone dripping with condescension. "Let's not exaggerate. I'm sure Manager Lauren was simply trying to maintain order." Her gaze flickered toward Manager Lauren, her perfectly manicured hand gesturing toward him as though orchestrating a performance. "Manager Lauren, surely this situation can be resolved without unnecessary conflict," she added, her tone feigning diplomacy. Lauren shifted uncomfortably, his eyes darting between Ruth and Helen. Ruth's voice was syrupy and sweet, but the edges of her words were sharp enough to cut. "Oh, didn't you know?" she began, pausing just long enough to make sure all eyes were on her. Her gaze flicked at Susan, her smile laced with feigned innocence. "I made a reservation earlier, with Manager Lauren himself." Her words hanging in the air like a challenge. She gestured subtly toward the private room behind her. "It's for dinner with my best friends," she finished, her voice dripping with mock sincerity. "But," Ruth continued, her eyes narrowing slightly as she turned toward Helen and Susan. "When we arrived, Miss Jones and Miss Drew here started making demands. They wanted our room. It's been pure chaos ever since." Her voice took on a pleading tone, as if she were genuinely seeking sympathy from those around her. Manager Lauren opened his mouth as though to say something, but Ruth pressed on, her words pointed and unwavering. "Really, it's been such an ordeal," she added with a sigh, glancing around to gauge the reaction of the onlookers. Helen crossed her arms, her glare fixed on Ruth. Susan shifted uncomfortably, but stayed silent, her jaw tightening as the tension in the room thickened. Manager Lauren fidgeted, clearly unsure how to diffuse the escalating drama. His silence only added fuel to Ruth's smug demeanor. Helen bristled, her fiery temper igniting. "Shameless? You're the one lying through your teeth, Ruth. We made the reservation fair and square, and now you're trying to steal it." Manager Lauren hesitated, glancing nervously between the two groups. "Young Master Kelly," he said awkwardly, "I was just following the restaurant's policies. These two ladies caused a disruption, so I had no choice but to ask them to leave." Sophia, standing slightly behind Ruth, decided to add her voice to the conversation. "Sis," she said softly, her tone tinged with feigned sadness. I know you don't like me much, but there's no need to make things difficult for Manager Lauren. He's just doing his job." Susan's lips curled into a bitter smile as she turned to face her sister. Her voice was calm, but her words cut like glass. "Sophia, do you ever get disgusted by your own hypocrisy?" The room fell silent, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. All eyes were on Susan as her words hung in the air, daring Sophia to respond. Daniel listened to the conflicting arguments from the women, his lips twitching in faint amusement. He turned to Ethan, his expression curious. "What's your take on all this?" Susan froze. Her breath caught as a wave of dread swept over her. Ethan's opinion would carry weight, and she was certain he despised her enough to take the opposing side. She lowered her gaze, bracing for his disdain. Ethan's dark eyes flicked past Sophia, taking in her carefully crafted appearance of helplessness. Her earlier remark had been veiled criticism aimed squarely at Susan, painting her as petty and vindictive. His voice was low and sliced through the tension. "This is the restaurant you've been recommending?" The faint sarcasm in his tone sent shivers down his spine. His sharp gaze landed on Manager Lauren. A manager who panders to power and ignores basic hospitality? Someone like that is unfit for leadership. Susan's head shot up, disbelief widening her eyes. Was Ethan defending her? Ethan caught her stunned reaction, and his brow furrowed in mild annoyance. Did she truly think so little of him? Manager Lauren paled, his composure unraveling. "Young Master Kelly, I didn't mean any harm. Miss Martin, you have to help me explain." Ruth, equally caught off guard, scrambled to recover. "Young Master Kelly," she said with a forced smile, "your friend must not be familiar with Susan Drew and Helen Jones' true nature. If he were, he'd understand." Daniel's eyes narrowed, his smile deepening as he interrupted. "I don't know much about Helen Jones, but I've heard plenty about Susan Drew. She's not just the young lady of the Drew family. She's a standout among California's elite." He paused, his voice taking on a sharp edge. At 16, she entered an elite American university. Last year, she earned her master's degree and returned to build an impressive professional track record at Drew Corp. Quite a contrast to certain social butterflies who spend their time flitting between parties and banquets. The pointed jab left Ruth, Sophia, and Lucinda visibly uncomfortable. Lucinda forced a tense smile. "Young Master Kelly," she began cautiously. "Attending events is essential for building connections as future heirs." Her implication was clear. Susan, not being an heir, didn't belong in their circles. Ethan's sharp gaze settled on Lucinda, a flicker of frost in his eyes. "Who are you to speak to me like that?" Lucinda's face drained of color, and she stammered incoherently. Sophia, stepping forward with an awkward smile, tried to diffuse the tension. "Young Master Kelly, we didn't mean to offend. Let's not make this situation any more difficult." Daniel's lips curled into a sneer. "Difficult? You brought this on yourselves." Turning to Ruth, his voice dropped to a mocking drawl. "Miss Martin, I hear you bribed your way through school. And this other, Miss Drew? Not highly educated and with little experience. Yet she wants to inherit a major corporation? Amusing. Is there no one else in the Drew family qualified?" Both women flushed with embarrassment, their confidence visibly crumbling. Susan and Helen exchanged a glance, struggling to suppress their amusement. Daniel's sharp words had dismantled the women's air in mere moments. Ruth, recovering slightly, muttered grudgingly, "It seems young Master Kelly has made his choice tonight. Lucinda, Sophia, let's leave and have our meal elsewhere." Sophia, her pride in tatters, nodded quickly. They began to gather their belongings when Ethan's cold voice cut through the air. "Wait." The three women froze, turning back toward him. Ethan's expression darkened as he spoke. "You can leave, but you'll leave the same way you wanted them dragged out. Disgraced." Susan's heart leaped to her throat. Her eyes fixed on Ethan in shock. Was he truly standing up for her? Sophia's composure cracked completely. Ruth turned crimson with fury. "Who do you think you are? Do you even know who we are?"
To listen to the full audio series, install the Pocket FM app now.